Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. You are joining the Grandmother Circle. This event is part of the Alberta Healthy Communities Symposium that is officially kicking off next week on Tuesday. So thank you for coming a bit early and joining us. This event is brought to you by the Alberta Recreation and Parks Association's Communities Choose Well initiative in proud partnership with Alberta Blue Cross. My name is Janet Naklia. I'm a programs manager with Alberta Recreation and Parks Association. So Janet is the name that my mom gave me that I love, but I've also been giving another name, a very significant spirit name by Elder Linda Brass and her husband, Daryl Brass. And Linda, she's here with us today. So to acknowledge and honor that name, I will share that name with you. Nia Muskiki Kihu Esquale, and in Blackfoot, Ni Sto Onagok Na Dewap Pitaki. And that is my name. It means I am Medicine Eagle Woman. And so I would like to thank the Blackfoot elders who are actually helping me with learning the language and the Blackfoot language. It's very dear to me. And to extend that, to acknowledge the land that I'm on here today, I am in Mohkinsis, which is the Blackfoot name for Calgary, which is in the traditional Blackfoot territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy. But of course, this land acknowledgement goes further than that. I want to acknowledge the land provincially, because we know how deeply connected language is to the land and how that helps identify cultural identity for those people who are there. So I think that really should extend to all of that and how the land gives voice to the people who are living there. So on that note, I would like to ask all the grandmothers. So all the grandmothers are going to smudge together to honor the diverse voices and the diverse messages that we hear, and so that we could hear the beautiful languages from the diverse and multi-nations that are from across the province of Alberta. But before we do that, I do have a tobacco pouch that I would like to offer in return for the prayers. So I have one for each of our grandmothers. The grandmothers know that I often like to go find significant material for the tobacco pouches. So last year we had a camp, a culture camp, and this is material. My mom, it's a tradition now that my mom will make tobacco pouches for the elders. So this is material from those pouches that we got last year, because I figured as we're talking about health and healthy communities, healthy culture and healthy spirituality is a huge part of that, which we will discuss later today. So I am passing this, I will physically come to your doorsteps and put it on your doorstep, but virtually today, I'm offering this tobacco to all of the grandmothers so that they could, we'll do a smudge and we could start in a good way, because I think the messages we hear are going to affect community. It's going to go out past this and make ripples of positivity in the community. So I would like to ask for that in a genuine way. And now I would like to invite the grandmothers to smudge, to give a prayer and to smudge for us. And I do have a smudge I will start as well. And so all the grandmothers need to come off mute. And so Kerrie, I see that you're still on mute there. Okay, and so if you like to start whenever, that works.
Ayaw nila kukumikis.
Bless the grandmother circle in love and direction. As
Ayeka kimatsiki ayonina
Yakio
Sinwa Uta Aski,
Anixika kististumika Anixika kataya kuya ayonina
thank you for this day, Creator.
nuko
Watch
sinan
over us and guard us in this
kita
way.
piminanix
We are
no
grateful
panuwatsa
for
mo
the
kanixika
sunshine. We're
kististumika
grateful for our lives.
ayonina
We
sa
ask
to
you to keep us safe no
kikamutan
matter
sa
where we may be.
mipetipisanis dawat sa
We ask Creator to please
Nokspumbo
watch over
kinanan
our children and our family.
chikikimat
The
sa
people in the world.
kinanin apsto
We
kinoksikimo
ask Creator we can find joy in our hearts. Which, hi. Amen.
Thank you. The smile on my face, just hearing that is, I think, the power that we all needed today. So thank you so much to the bottom of my heart for that amazing smudge and that amazing opening. So the question is, why are we here today? So we're here, like I mentioned, because of that symposium that's happening next week. We also wanted to bring together strong and resilient women, strong and resilient grandmothers, to celebrate the fact it was International Women's Day yesterday. So to share and showcase those strong, diverse voices. And I also wanted to acknowledge Elder Doreen Healy. This is a journey that started pre-COVID, when she had the idea to come together and bring, I keep saying strong and powerful women together and share women's teachings, which is a very important part of culture, and what those particularly strong voices and unique voices can offer to community. So that is the background. And we're going to go forward. So what we're going to do, we're going to now meet the grandmothers. I am then going to ask a question of which the grandmothers will respond to in a circle. And then there will be some time, and possibly a second question, and potentially time for questions from the audience, which you could ask through the chat box. So enough of me. I'm turning it over. And I would first ask Kerrie, if you could come forward and introduce yourself and tell us who you are and how amazing you are.
Thank you. Tanse, Tanshi, Oki, hello. Nitana Komuksanaki, Wapan Mihiganagakasqueo. My name is Kerrie Moore. I am Cree Métis, originally from Saskatchewan, but I've lived here for 47 years and I'm very honored to be in the Treaty 7 territory. I work as an elder here and I do many other things in my life. And I'm truly honored to have been gifted with a Blackfoot name as well as my Cree name. And so thank you very much for inviting me. I'm a grandmother of 3 little girls. They are all I'm going to get, and they are precious to me. I'm truly honored to be a grandmother. I know that my mother used to say, the greatest gift in the world is when you are blessed by grandchildren. And it doesn't matter how many we have. We adopt many along the way, but it is truly one of the greatest gifts to be a grandmother, because we are referred to as grandmothers by everyone, and because we care so much. So thank you for inviting me. Miigwech. Hi.
Thank you so much for that, Kerrie. And so Alice, can you introduce yourself, please? Also a grandmother.
Sure. Ambastich isnies anamartamne ni imbarbi ni supiwaginats ni heja wayam ni heja ha ibine the homo tanga chawan hecha na go hem with sasta hingi chabines the homo tanga wan piwaginats ambastich. Good day to everyone and to all the grandmothers out there. Today is a beautiful day, and I greet you with Ambawastich, meaning that today is a beautiful day. And my name is Alice Kaquitts. My Iska name that was given to me by my grandmothers is Umotata Money, And the closest translation that comes to that is grizzly walker. And it's sort of, that's the closest translation, because in our language, there's no direct, in English, there's no direct translation. And I am a grandmother of 2 beautiful girls and 3 grandsons.
Mm.
But I go further than that because my siblings, I have 3 older siblings. I have 2 sisters and 1 brother. And their grandchildren are also my grandchildren. So I have many, many grandchildren. And when you become an elder, when you become a grandmother at a certain age, your community members that are young also become your grandchildren. So I am a grandmother to all my relatives, this grandchildren, children, and the community as well. And so I have been very privileged and honored to be invited to a lot of the elders' circles that need elder guidance. So I am involved in different organizations as well. And also I am on the radio on a weekly that I host with my son Thomas Snow. So I want to welcome all of you, and so good to see all of you. And
Thank you so much for that. And I think that also is a perfect explanation of the idea of a grandmother, having that cultural piece as well. And also that your, as I mentioned, your radio show is in your original language too. So I think that's,
yes.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Edmee Comstock, Elder Comstock, would like to introduce you as well. And I think you actually have a whole slew of actual grandchildren, like 65?
Hoodles. No, I've got so many. 16 and 16, great. But with all my children, I'm from a large family. I'm the youngest of the 17. And my given name was a Tim, which meant a dog. Really upset me when I was wrapped in this blanket and everybody's praying on the outside. Because my brother had been called Wapoos, which was a rabbit. When I got out of the blanket, my dad said, the dog is a protector. He's faithful, and he will defend all those that he loves. And you will do that. You will meet many nations. You will be with many people one day. And until all this happened about 22 years, 24 years ago, being asked to speak with the people that were going to adopt our children, I thought, whoa, bingo. This is what he was talking about. So for that, I'm thankful. And for all of you, this circle is so beautiful and you all have such beautiful stories. It seems so precious to be asked to be here. It's an honor to be with each of you. And each of you that are going through this pain, I take it on and I will smudge extra tonight. So I'll stay. I have to go outside to smudge. But it's such a blessing. I'm out where Mother Earth and, you know, the sky. And so I'm thankful. And Monica, you are in my heart as well. Thank you. And all of you for all our losses. Everyone is so beautiful. The language is important, so I'm lucky that I can speak my own language. But for that, I'm thankful. That's a healthy community, just where we are today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Edmee, for that. Okay, so, oh, and I also love the fact, oh, you're youngest of like 16 kids. It's okay. So we do respect Edmee and her large and important family. So welcome, Edmee. I would now like to introduce Elder Linda Brass and then welcome her up to introduce herself. So Cookham.
I am a Sinapiasko Big Water woman. My given name was Linda, and I don't like to go by the name of Linda. I like to go by my spiritual name and acknowledge that the Creator's here with all of us at this time and for the women. And I say miigwech to all those strong women that's out there. Because how long have we lived? We've lived for years and years raising our children, our grandchildren. I've got 24 grandchildren and 16 great grandchildren. So I keep wanting, to want to change things for my family, for my great grandchildren. I'd love to see them grow with the strong traditional ways of women. We've been through lots in this history of abuse, physical, mental, and sexual abuse, and we're still standing proud. And I can see it in every woman, in their heart, their beautiful faces, their beautiful womb. We come from the Mother Earth, and we take care of the Mother Earth. She is our mother. We gotta love her and respect her. She's our cookum. And we need to understand this, because when we crawl into a sweat lodge, that's the womb of the Mother Earth. And we give thanks for that, because without this womb, we would not be strong. And it's the men did respect the women, and it was an honor to be in ceremony with women. But nowadays it's changed lots, and it's too bad, because when the government came over the European contact, they messed up everything, and they took away that woman ceremonies, the teachings and everything from them, and made the men the superior ones, and we had to listen to them. Now it's not this way no more. We can all be powerful women with kind words, with an open heart, with open mind. When you pray for a child or another sister, you pray from your heart, because you're praying for yourself also, because you want to be strong in who you are. And I love every one of you, and I say miigwech to you. Miigwech.
Which, thank you. Thank you so much for those beautiful and powerful words. Monica, so Elder Chiefmoon, you are up next.
I was clicking on the wrong mic. Okay. Sikatui kisiko. Hitam sikatui kisiko. Nistuana ko sa tapiaki. Numtutu kaena. Welcome. Six months that can no. I don't know. No how to stay works. Welcome everybody. I'm humbled to be here. My name is Monica Chiefmoon. My traditional name is Satstapaki Southern Belle. I also am a grandmother of one, but very honored. My grandson is 24, and I don't think my family is going to grow any more than that. I do have two sons who are very eligible to have children, but they won't. So, but like Allison, like Terry and everyone else, I have a whole bunch of adopted grandchildren that love me just as much as grandchild would love you, and I love them as equally. So I'm very blessed in that way, that I've, throughout my life, that I've come across these families who have adopted me as a grandmother and reciprocated the love. So I'm just really happy to be here today with all of you grandmothers, and thank you for all your prayers and your words. and I'm humbled to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Monica. And there's always hope. There's always hope for more grandchildren. Not that we're ever saying, you know, don't be unsafe out there, people. Not just for Monica's sake, but there's always hope. Okay, so our last grandmother today is Elder Doreen Healy. So would you like to introduce yourself, Doreen?
Welcome, everybody. And I'm so happy that everybody's here to listen to our beautiful grandmothers who are going to share their wisdom. So I thank you, grandmothers, for being here. And Janet, this wouldn't be possible without all your help. I'm so happy for you to be part of our circle. We've got so many other grandmothers, but today we've got Kerrie, Edmee, Monica, Linda, and Alice to share their wisdom with you. And please listen with an open mind, with an open heart, because these women, these grandmothers were so wise, and they're so willing to help to share their stories. I'm Doreen Healy, and I'm from the Blood Tribe. My traditional name is Sipianskiaki. It's woman singing in the night. And I too have 4 beautiful granddaughters. My other nieces and nephews, I don't know if they call me a grandmother, their grandmother, or adopted grandmother, but they call me auntie, and that's feels so good when they do that. So I just want, the reason why I wanted to start this grandmother's circle was so that give the opportunity of all the grandmothers that have so much to share. And we want to help our young people, to help them start on their journeys in life with some help and some advice that we may not have had when we were starting off on our journeys. So that's why I want you guys to listen with an open mind and an open heart. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, Elder Healy. And so partly, well, the main reason we're here is to be able to share those women's teachings and that perspective from a grandmother in terms of an Indigenous context. So we will start with our round. So we're going to go in the same round as the introductions, so you know where you are in terms of the circle. And the question that we're asking today is, what does a healthy community mean to you? That is the theme of our Healthy Community Symposium coming up. We are focusing on diversity and diverse voices and inclusion. So we would like to ask that again, what does a healthy community mean to you or look like to you? So I will start with you, Kerrie.
Thank you. Thank you, grandmothers, too, for being here. It's nice to see your faces. Truly it is. I know that we're going through such a hard time where we can't be in touch with our communities the way we used to. And so I look forward. I keep telling myself that we're going to come through this and be able to hug each other and see each other and be with our communities again. I'm reminded of how it used to be, even with my grandmother, where we would sit together and talk with one another, especially as the females in our family. And there was always someone that spoke to the males in our family when they were struggling, because we had our own lodges. We had women's business and men's business and family business, and we worked together. In those circles, we shared the values that we carry deep within our spirit, the values of love and kindness and respect and honesty and compassion and accountability and responsibility and many, many other values. The values that we carry, Creator gave to us. And we carry them deep within our belly button where we're attached to our mothers. Now, this is my grandmother's story. So I know that my grandmother is Cree. And so my grandmother used to always say to us, if you want to think, if you want to figure out how to live in this world, you need to be in your spirit, not in your head, because we carry our behaviors in our head. Anger, anxiety, depression, and all of those other behaviors, which are not, they're not supposed to be with us. Our values we connect to every time we do ceremony. Every time we come together, we go deep within our belly button. Our love and our kindness comes out of us. As mothers and grandmothers and aunties and women, we are the first teachers of the babies and the children. And so in our societies, in our families, we would bring those babies together and we would talk about our lives, and we would hold those babies and teach them about how wonderful they are. We would teach them about the values we carry. We would teach them how to talk to one another, not like this or like this. That doesn't come from our way of teaching. That comes from somewhere else, which is not an Indigenous way of teaching. Have we adopted some of those things now? Yes, I'm sure. We see it. But our traditional ways would have taught children at a very early age. When they did something that was inappropriate, the grandmothers or the auntie, whoever's sitting near them, would pick them up and they'd go, "Oh, my baby, whatever happened to make you so angry?" We didn't say, "You bad girl, you bad boy." Because when you use words like that, they get attached to us. It's very hard to let them go. It's very hard to believe that you're anything but that, because it's coming from the people you love. Instead, we would say, "What happened to make you so angry?" At the very youngest, with the children, we would have taught them that they have a right to their feelings. They have a right to how they feel, but they also are responsible for how they react. And so we would bring them back into their spirit before we said that. "What happened, baby?" And we would teach the little girls and the little boys throughout their lives in those teepees or in those homes that we have nowadays. And it was always the women in my culture that were responsible for what happened inside that house. Even today, some of that still passes over, as we know. And in the teepees, even the teepee poles that we put up, each teepee pole carries a different value. And we teach those values first. We didn't teach people that they were bad. We taught people that they were beautiful. When children are born, they are perfect. Somewhere along the line, something happens to make them believe they are not. So when I think about that question, I think about, what would it be to live the way we used to live? Yes, we had lots of grief and challenges and wars, but our families loved one another. Our community loved one another. If somebody said something inappropriate, we dealt with it immediately. We didn't leave them alone. You would never see someone in grief alone. You would never see someone who had done something alone. We would not isolate them. We would look at and reach out to them with kindness and love. And so if we could only remember that human beings are the values, the behaviors happen when we're not connected to our spirit. That's what our ceremonies teach us, to be in spirit, not to be in our head. And that teaching has been lost somewhere. Let's bring it back. Because if we could just remember that when we're in our spirit, That is where we find our love and our hope and our purpose. That is where we're in control. Then we can live amongst one another, helping and supporting and teaching, especially the little ones who get so confused that they are perfect and that they're here for a reason too. So a perfect community, because we're always going to have challenges. There's nothing ever perfect. But a perfect community to me looks like love and kindness and the values the Creator gave all of us. And we are the only species on Earth who forget who we are sometimes. So to remember about the values we carry and treat everyone with those values, the world would be a better place. So that's what I have to say to all of you, that I love all of you, and I really do care about what I see out there. And people have asked me many times, how do we make this world a better place, Kerrie? I say, get out of your head. Your head is where the behaviors are. Come down into your spirit every day and be thankful that we are here to help one another. We're not here to isolate ourselves away. We're here to help one another. And even in COVID, we do that. We reach out, we talk to each other. Look at now, Janet, you brought us together to say life is about love and kindness too. It isn't just about sadness. And if no one has ever told you before, let me tell you this. It is your choice, because challenges are meant to walk through, not to live in. So thank you. I love you all. Miigwech.
Thank you so much, Kerrie. Every time I hear you, I'm like, oh, I'm in my head. Although I was getting a little choked up and my spirit's already coming. I'm already crying. It's only the first grandmother. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. So Alice, you are next. We have to ask you to unmute and share. And the question is, what is a healthy community look like to you?
In our Nakoda culture, I come from a culture where women were historically held in high regard. And even today, when we look at societies, women play a major role in each society that they're from. And one of the teachings that we're taught at a very young age is that as a parent, as a young parent, that we're taught that children are loaned to us by the Creator. They are not ours. And that we have a responsibility to raise, to guide these children to be productive members of society. Children were raised to have a positive sense of identity. They were grounded in their morals, their beliefs, and they were balanced. So that's what we were taught growing up. And that as an Iifka, the spirit of an individual is very important. And that we are told that, as a young parent, from the beginning of conception, that our responsibility as a parent is to protect our spirit. And when you become a parent, to guide and to nurture, to love and to protect the spirit of your children. We're told that if a spirit is faced with or goes through trauma, the spirit leaves the body, and that child will become unhealthy and sick. So as parents, we're always told to the significance and the importance of our spirit. So those were You know, that's one of the teachings that I have kept. No, in our culture, in our Stoney Nakoda culture, we are taught about all the different life stages that we are going to go through within our lives, and the importance of transitions in those stages of life. Say, for example, know when you first know that you're going to become a parent, you have that support system in place already. Your mothers, your parents, your grandmothers, your sisters, your aunties guide you in that process. No, and we're taught that ceremonies are very important part of our lives, so that we can transition from one life stage to another. And ceremonies guide our lives through our entire lives. Say, for example, in our Nakoda culture, when a child is about 6 months, we have ceremonies. We honor this little child, our children, our babies, through ceremony. We have all these passage of rite ceremonies that we go through to honor our children, to know that they're loved and that they are part of our lives. So we have our eating ceremonies, our first ceremonies. As we go through our life stages, when they're older, we teach our children our language, our values, our beliefs through storytelling. Storytelling is also very important, was and still is in our lives, because that's how children learn what our moral values are, what they can and what they can't do. As we go through teenagehood, we're taught as young women to respect themselves. We have passage of rite ceremonies that are very important, that transition us from being a child to a teenager, to honoring ourselves, our body, who we are as Yistka people, as a young woman, how to live our lives, how to conduct ourselves, how to respect our bodies, how to respect our feelings, how to control our emotions, and how to believe in ourselves, and also how to conduct and participate in ceremonies. As we journey on through adulthood, we're taught the importance of higher learning, how to live a productive life, how to contribute back to society. The Yistka core values has always been to contribute back to your society. That's what we were taught, the importance. Through every life stage of our lives, we have transitional ceremonies that has kept us moving forward and not getting stuck when we're faced with intergenerational trauma. Every emotion that we've had, were dealt with and addressed right away. Even our behaviors, we were taught how to control and learn as well. So a healthy community for me would be having a balance in your life, that you're spiritually strong, that you know who you are, you immerse yourself in your own spiritual practices, know, to look after yourself emotionally, to address traumas right away so that they don't become intergenerational traumas. You address your emotional, your mental problems, your mental issues that might affect your ability to function. So we're taught to address all that and to look after ourselves physically, to eat right, to exercise, and most of all, to know and believe that every day is a gift and that we can learn. And to me, a healthy community is having a balance and taking risks and not being afraid to change, to address those intergenerational traumas that are left behind as a result of colonization, the residential school, the assimilation, all the addictions that we use to mask the trauma. And we need to address that to move forward, to live in a healthy community so our children can thrive and grow and know who they are, where their ancestors came from, to have a positive sense of identity. So, and know their language and have confidence and have the ability and have a voice. To me, that's a healthy community.
Thank you so much for that, Alice. And I think that's a theme, like identity, cultural identity, knowing your voice, knowing your language. So thank you so much for bringing that up. And Alice also does an amazing workshop on traditional parenting, and how, like, the role that is played and how it could play a role now. So that's also something. So I really appreciate your wisdom, Alice, today. We're going to go to Edmee. I just want to read a couple comments in the chat box. So Darlene wants to say it's an honor to hear all of you and to see you, a beautiful grandmother. So that's from Darlene. And then Lisa mentions that, Kerrie, your comment that we're the only species who forgets who we are, that it really struck her in a really big way. And thanks you for that comment. So Edmee, I would like to invite you now to answer, what does a healthy community mean to you?
Oh, so many things. But first of all, our spirit. They used to tell us about our spirit. That was how we were explained the 7 steps. The minute we could understand these words, they would use the words. But before that, they used kindness. If we did something that wasn't right, we never got spanked. Well, we got to have to do something. And while we were doing this work, it could be just maybe the dishes had to be rewashed if we were 4 or 5, but they make us do something. So while we were doing it, we had to think of what we did. And why did we do that? And so there was always stories. There was always stories about how to conduct ourselves with spirituality, that, our spirit, it comes from our heart. It comes from your mind to your heart. It's so important. And these other mothers have explained so many things in a different way, but it's the same thing. We were, the same, using love and respect to respect ourselves. But to respect ourselves is to respect others, whether they like us or not. Love everyone. Oh, that was tough. Especially when somebody's calling you names, that was really hard. Have the courage to say, I don't know how to do this. Have the courage to say, I don't know their language, but I know that I have to respect them and to love our own language, to not be ashamed. And because often they try to make Métis people feel ashamed. They'd say we were talking dirty. They did that to my two oldest daughter in school. So, and they were just talking to another Métis girl in their language. And so they would send the child home. But the youngest two had a better time in school, and it was better. It had started to be accepted. So a healthy community would be one to respect one another, to respect who they are, and respect ourselves. By respecting ourselves, we're showing them that there is love and respect, and love them unconditionally, even if it's tough sometimes to do so, especially when they're cruel and they're mean. But if you walk away, you have the humility to walk away, and you know the truth, and to have the courage and the wisdom to do it. But sometimes when we're young, we don't have that wisdom. When we get a little older, we have that wisdom. But I feel that the other two grandmothers explained everything that we were taught. At first, we start with our spirit. We have a spirit, and our spirit always knows the best, but sometimes our mind doesn't tell us the best thing to do. So for that, I'll pass it on. Stories and language and who you are and who the other person is. You got to respect that. So respect covers a lot of things. You respect yourself and you respect others, because they too might have some trauma that we don't understand. You know, some hurt and pain that we can't and will maybe never know. But if we at least respect them and tell them we love them regardless, then maybe the world would be better if we could all see that in a different way. And I think we're working hard at it. And as grandmothers here, I think we're showing a lot of example of how to, and it's okay to ask somebody, I don't know how to do this, so please help me. And, you know, not to be afraid, to humble ourselves sometimes, to have the courage to do so, the wisdom to know when it's true or not to do so, and the honesty to ourselves and to others because of the love fact. That would be a real healthy community, and things would be better, and there wouldn't be these fighting. We never got a licking, so I don't ever know. I just got a lot of chicken cleaning and coop cleaning and stuff like that. But hey, it didn't hurt a bit. Maybe it'd give me a better complexion or something. I don't know. Just joking. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edmee. And so again, language, pride in cultural identity. I'm hearing also courage. Alice mentioned it. I think courage too. Agakimat, that Blackfoot concept of trying hard. And maybe Monica touch on that, but try hard and the universe rises up to meet that effort. And I think that honest effort too. So I think, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that sharing, Edmee. We're going to go next to Linda and then followed by Monica. So Elder Brass, Cookham, would you like to share?
Yes. Going back to that womb I was talking, the Mother Earth, the sweat lodge. When that mushroom, that rock is brought in, that is creating life. And when we have that happening to us, that pregnancy. In that pregnancy, in that womb is a little seed, and it'll grow with how you feel, what you're thinking. Are you happy? Are you sad? And it all goes into this womb. And if you are abused physically, mentally, sexually, it will happen. And you need to try to understand that European contact has brought a lot of hardship to our people. And the women all over the world have that beautiful right to give a child and not to raise it to be somebody else's slave or to do things to make them more powerful or whatever they're looking for. We are here to love each other as women and to be strong for other women, be strong for our grandchildren. From age 1, from a baby to age of puberty, the women raised the children. They breastfed them. They taught them how to respect little girls, how to help them, because this was very important in our life, the protection of the girls, the innocence and the love that they carried when they were in the womb. And and then from 12 to 15, because of residential school, a lot of people, lots of people, women were taken away and was given physical, mental abuse too. And it's sad that it has to be. And we become like them. We become angry, we become mad and hurt. It's not our fault. We need to teach the other women, the other races and everything. We make mistakes. If we live with that mistake, we will have to carry it for a long time. But if we let it go and tell the Creator, I made a change in my life and I want a better life. I want my people to be strong, my sons to be strong, and my grandchildren to raise their family. I don't believe that I had this way of upbringing, but I wanted something better for my children. And so did my husband. And we crawled into the sweat lodge and it changed our life. And I will never, I always encourage young people to go to those places, go to those lodges, go to those ceremonies, go to those teachings. And we all have that right to raise our children in a good way and bring that life and the equal quality back to the women through teachings. When you go and do a teaching or something, don't become angry if somebody says something to you, because you're letting them take control of your spirit and your robe. And I ask grandfathers and grandmothers to pity the people who do not understand that way of life that has been so strong in our people. And I say miigwech to every woman here, miigwech, all my relations.
Miigwech, all my relations. Thank you so much for that, Cookham. And for those who are attending today from the symposium, Elder Linda and her son Daryl Brass Jr. will be doing teachings for us next week as part of that ceremony. So you will hear an opportunity to hear more from Linda and Daryl. So thank you so much, Cookham, for that teaching. And so Monica, I now invite you. What does a healthy community mean to you?
Okay. Gee, that's a loaded question. Just listening to everybody really had really good things to say, and I guess that's a recurring theme. Theme amongst all First Nations. We're all autonomous, but at the same time, we do things the same. We do things, differently, but the same. When Alice was talking about passage of rights, we also have those for both for females and males. Transitioning into your next stage of life. So you were always prepared on what was expected of you once you enter that next stage. For a healthy community, I think language is very, very important, because language itself gives you a sense of identity. It tells you who you are. When you speak the language, you're one with Mother Earth. And, then there's no wavering as to who you are. You know exactly who you are. And I think this is what's missing with our youth these days, is that they're not schooled in the language, and therefore, they're grasping at other cultures to get some sort of identity. They're lost. They don't know who they are. And we need to bring this back. The grandmothers back in the days were very important. Like one of the other elders said, played a major role in rearing the children through storytelling. You know, they were the ones that took care of the children while the parents were doing whatever they need. The fathers were hunting, the mothers were taking care of the meat, the lodge, everything. So the grandmothers were the ones that were teaching the children. And so were the grandfathers. And through playing games, through storytelling was how they taught the children. And seeing and hearing, actually doing hands-on learning was what sticks in your head, you know, because you're nurturing your spirit. That's another thing that everybody was talking about, your spirit. Your spirit has to grow with your physical self. And through the residential school era, a lot of those children's spirit were broken in those schools, and their spirits were never allowed to heal and to grow with their physical bodies. And that is the reason why we have so many people out there with addictions, because their spirit hasn't had a chance to grow. Their spirit was traumatized. Their spirit was broken. Therefore, just sitting inside them, just waiting to grow. They're still children. They were injured, you know. And so you need to nurture those spirits in a healthy way to help them to grow and to be productive members of society. You know, there is nothing wrong with our people today. They were just hurt, you know, spirits were broken. And this is what the newcomers wanted. So now we have to go back and reteach our youth the proper way to have a healthy community where everybody is one. There's not me, there's not I, it's ours, it's we. And we all nurture the children together. You know, healthy children in a healthy community will create a healthy lifestyle. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And I thought that was that return to spirit is such an important concept that in a often mainstream conversations we don't even discuss. So I appreciate everyone's comment and you bringing that home. Monica, thank you. And Doreen, is there any final, you want to comment on this as well? And I think, oh, there you are, Doreen. I know I'm short for you, so
I have to run right away. Like I said before at the beginning, I just want to thank all these beautiful elders, grandmothers, for coming today to share your wisdom. I learn every time I sit with these elders. They're so beautiful. I feel so blessed and humble that I am allowed to sit with them, because I too came from residential school and I wasn't raised with the spirituality. So thank you to Reg and Dr. Croshu for them to take me under their wing and telling me, you've had enough time in the Western worldview, you need to come and learn your culture. So I've just been so blessed. And of having what I see as a healthy community, it's just in a few words, because I got to run right away, is a community that prays together, plays together, sings together. That's where the heart will always be, so that everybody, all of the late grandmothers talked about knowing your language and taking care of your spirit. That's what's going to guide us. We have our youth that we need to really help and give them guidance, give them some tools so that they become strong individuals, that they don't get caught up in what we had to deal with. So I just want to thank everybody again. Thank you for being part of this circle.
Miigwech.
We'll see you.
Thank you so much for that, Elder Healy. And when she mentioned Reg Crowshoe, so that's Dr. Reg Crowshoe and Rose Crowshoe. So many of you who've been following ARPA and our initiatives, you often hear from Reg and Rose. And for example, online, there's a smudging video. You want to learn about the Blackfoot context for smudge and many other things that will direct you to as well. And that will be available at conference. There is an opportunity. There's a session within the conference next week that has video choices, which will be like there's Reg and Rose doing smudge. The brasses are talking about two-spiritedness. There's some reconciliation pop-up opportunities to view. So all of that will be part of the learning opportunity. Okay, so now we're reversing the circle. Oh, keep everyone on their toes. So really now we just want to know what is one. So we have a half an hour left. Hopefully some time for questions. What is the one teaching? If you had to give everyone one teaching today, what would that message be that you'd want to leave everyone with today? And so Monica, you're in the hot seat. What's the one teaching? Or two or three?
Oh yeah, that's right. I am. Doreen left. Darn that Doreen. The one teaching that I would leave with everyone is to live by the 7 teachings, 7 sacred teachings. That I know that's not one teaching, but to love, to have empathy, to have courage, honesty, all those that will help you be a good member of society. And I think it also is very, very important for you to learn your language. Our languages are just being lost, and we need to make sure that we revive the language. So if you ever get an opportunity to learn your language, learn it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And again, that strong message about language tied to identity and a tie to spirituality and a tie to health, right? So thank you, Monica. Okay, so then it is, Linda. So Elder Brass, you're next, and then Edmee is after. So Linda, what is the 1 or 2 or 3 teachings that you would like to leave with the group?
I'd like to leave the teachings of, we need to think about what happened in someone's life that made them so hurt and angry and frustrated that they would have to hurt other people in all ways of life. And it is the money part, the control part, and it is not a good place of working. And the women want to work together. They want their children to be raised together. And we want the same equality for our children, for their education. And I ask that this will stay in the teachings and the understanding how wonderful women are, how beautiful, how strong they are. And this needs to be continued. And the men will carry that and will share life. The grandfather sun and the grandmother moon walks through the sky world starting in the east and goes to the west. They don't fight who's right, wrong, but it's become the money part of life. And it's really destroyed lots of families and powerful people that has destroyed people's minds, their spirit, and their robes, and never thinking that we are not good enough. We are just as good as anybody else because the Creator made us. And I say miigwech for that. And we belong to the Mother. And I will shut off for today because I'm getting kind of wobbly. I didn't have breakfast. Okay, thank you. And I will watch this program. Miigwech.
Thank you so much for that, Cookham. I really do. I love the analogy of the moon and the sun do not fight or bicker over their place in the universe, and how much that is about balance. So I really appreciate it. That was a beautiful story. So Edmee, Elder Edmee, what would you like us to leave with a thought for today?
My goodness. Everything was said that's so important. Well, the 7 steps, as I told you, that's how I was raised, so I believe in that. But in the 7th step, we have so many words to pick from, and they're all important. So let our spirit guide us to all the 7 steps and other, from Mother Earth to the moon, to the sky, to the 7 brothers in the Dipper. We used to call them, the Métis used to call them the 7 grandmothers. This is how the Métis French would say, "She grand-mère over shit. You better be good." And I always was scared that one of them would come and, just do something. But I would say, if I have to use one word, is to use our spirit to guide us with there's many other words that I think are equally: the courage, the humility, the love, the respect. All those 7 words are so important in our life. So our spirituality guide us into tomorrow. Tomorrow is not promised to us, but if we have a tomorrow, then that's what I thank you.
Thank you so much. And also, as a reference, when Elder Edmee was saying 7 steps, it's also a reference to the 7 sacred teachings.
That's our 7 teaching, yeah. And they used to be called 7, the 7 teaching, the steps that you are going to take in your life. Each step could be today, could be courage, tomorrow could be humility. So that's why they used to use that the 7th step was so important. They were the 7 sacred teaching, the most sacred thing that my parents said that they could teach us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Okay, Alice, Elder Alice, what are some final thoughts you would like to leave for the group? Sorry, why am I waving at you? You have to unmute. Yeah, thank you.
She's muted. Yeah. My
mother used to tell me that I can get lost in the big city or in any crowd if I don't know who I am, my Iiska identity, my culture, my history, my language. And it was very important, those teachings, to be not lost in the crowd. And also several teachings that I want to leave with you is know your language. Make sure you know your language. And it is through your language that you know who you are, your identity. And also know your culture, know your history. And to not impose your teachings and confuse Indigenous youth that are out there looking for their identity. Share your own culture, your own values, and not confused youth that may be lost and are looking for their own tribe's identity. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And again, that key piece about importance of identity and how when that is denied you, how that affects and resonates through generations. So thank you for that, Alice. Okay, so, before we move to you, Kerrie, I do have a message from Michelle. She says, thank you to all of the grandmothers for caring and sharing. My heart is much lighter now than it was at the start of this session, with much love. So thank you for that. And we will have some time for questions. So if anyone has a question, feel free to put it in the Q&A or into the chat box. So Kerrie, what message would you like to leave everyone with?
Oh, probably several, but and you're right, Monica. We're all coming from different places, but we have the same teachings, but in just slightly different ways. And that's what I love about talking like this, because we see that we're far more similar than different. And you know, I think that whenever I was troubled as a child, whenever I was upset, whenever I just didn't seem to know what I was doing, my grandmother used to say to me, go. And she meant get out, go outside, right? And she'd send me out to Mother Earth, and she'd tell me, don't come back until you know it's time. And I was like, what is she talking about, right? And I would go and I would be on Mother Earth, and I'd walk, and I'd see caterpillars and pick up sticks, and all of the things you do as a child. And in the process, I was thinking and processing, but I was also coming down into my spirit, because something about being on Mother Earth actually brings you down into your spirit. And so finally, I'd forget what it was that I was upset about. And so I'm a firm believer that Mother Earth, she's called Mother Earth for a reason. And Naha is how we say her name. And she's called Mother Earth because she is always our mother. She's always there taking care of us. And the answers you will find on Mother Earth. You just have to get out and away from people, and be on Mother Earth, and you will find the answers all around you in ways you may not have to think about it. But the other thing I think that I would like to leave with people is that colonization, the C word, colonization, actually affected all human beings at some point in our lives, no matter who we are. And in the process of colonization, we were taken out of our spirit as children. And we were told we were no longer who we are. And in doing that, what became most important is what we think, not what we feel. And what we feel is the truth, because we know that our head can play tricks on us. So I guess I would say to you is get out of your head and come down into your spirit, because your head can play tricks on you. Your heart can play tricks on you, but your spirit is your truth. And somewhere along the line, somebody took you out of your truth, and you will only find it when you go deep within your belly button. There is a reason why we are attached to our mothers at our belly button. We even have a little hole still there. Did you ever wonder that? Every wound we have heals over except where we're attached to our mother. It's to remind us that when you want to figure things out, you need to be in your belly button. That is where our spirit is. Spirit isn't something that people go, what is that? Spirit is part of who human beings are. We are spiritual, emotional, physical, and cognitive beings. But we live in a world where all that matters is what we look like and what we think. And those are not who we are. We can only find out who we are when we are deep within our belly button. So we need to figure out how to get there, however that might be. We know that our culture brings us there. Through our culture and those prayers, that drumming, that smoke, that all of the senses that become so connected actually bring us back to the safety of our mother deep within our belly button. So I guess I would just say to you, get out of your head. Because when you get out of your head and come down into your spirit, you will find out who you are. You won't find it up here. So thank you. Miigwech.
Language. Thank you for that. And that's actually a perfect transition, Kerrie, to our question just came in. So from Brianna, to all of you amazing grandmothers, thank you for your time this morning. What is one of your best memories? Oh, sorry, I just lost it. Oh, okay, I just lost the question. I don't know why, but it was, what was one of your best memories that connected with you to your community? So when you think back, and I think Kerrie, you did a great idea of the drumming and the smell of smoke. So when you think of that moment of safety and health, and when you connect back to your community, what is one of your great memories? I see Monica, you came off. Did you want to answer that?
I think the reason why you lost the question was because I responded to it on in the chat.
Oh,
Sorry, but I just said that I grew up in a community where at least 80% of the community members were elders. That is where I grew up, and I learned all my teachings and everything. Like, it was such a when I think back to that time, it just brings a smile to my face because it was always happy times. You could go to any house in our community, any house, the door would be open. You just walk in, the grandmothers will be, oh, you know, in your language, Chiki, sit down, have something to eat here. And you're not coming to eat. I just came to play with whoever, but you go to 5 houses, you're fed 5 times and you can't say no. And those were very joyful times. That's my best memory. Thank you.
Edmee, do you want
That is so true. That is so true, Monica. If you walked in someone else's house or they walked in yours, it was always they fed you and they give you a. I think I learned to drink tea when I was quite young, and because they give you a cup of tea, and you looked around to see if the grandmothers and grandfathers were looking, and you'd soak your bannock in there and take it. You know, those are good memories. Those are memories of being able to be together as family. It was beautiful. Remember that.
Thank you. Alice, so when you think of memories that connect you to your culture and to your community, and you're muted, so you have to unmute. Oh wait, you gotta unmute.
I guess the best memories are for me are when I'm with my family, my siblings and all, and every year we go back to our traditional territory in camp and we're all together. And those are the most fond memories that I have because it connects me to my mother, my ancestors, the land, the spiritual beings that are in that territory. And to know that as part of this family, I'm very loved and honored and respected and nurtured, just as I nurture each other, all of us together. So I have so many fond memories of that mother's love, that unconditional love that our mothers have always given us as women, so that and then knowing the power, the courage, the strength, the resilience that our mothers had. And those connect me to that sense of belonging and connection, not only to my mother, but to my community as well. So I can go out there and do what I do. Sneeze.
Thank you. And we have a comment from Cheryl. I was raised by my Cree grandmother from birth and understand my language and speak some and learn more each day. So Otsi, my belly button was sacred and a place where parents or family wishes for the child. So that's in response to you, Kerrie, as well. And did you want to share a memory as well, Kerrie?
I guess it sort of echoes everyone else, because I think family is always very important to us. And I can remember, and this is very dear to me, my grandmother had a really difficult life, and she wasn't allowed to speak her language either. And we were all spread. Were sent to different places, and whenever I went to visit my grandmother in the summertime, she would take us blueberry picking. And when we were blueberry picking, people would come from everywhere. My relatives, they would just show up. Sometimes there were 15 people in a car, right? Like, not like now. And people would just keep coming out, show my niece, my cousins. And I remember those joyful times of coming together, because sometimes I only saw all my relatives a few times a year. And we picked up right where we left off. There was always love and kindness and laughter and joy. And I don't think I picked many blueberries, but I ate a lot. So when I think of family, and despite the fact that we're spread everywhere, when something brings you together and everybody can come there and be safe, because we were all safe there, away from what was going on there. To me, every family needs to have that time in their life where they can come together totally safe and just be with people that they haven't seen for a long time. It fills you up. So that is a very fond memory for me.
Well, thank you for that. And Jordana would like to say this was a wonderful experience to hear you and share, and grateful to be present and listen to you beautiful grandmothers. So a lot of gratitude from our presenters. So we actually had 40 people in the audience today. So it's quite a big crowd, just in case you didn't notice, and this will be recorded and shared with others as well. All right, so we have about 5-6 minutes, and the big C question came in. Speaking of the big C's, COVID. Woo! No, it's okay. So, question was, any insight from a grandmother's perspective in terms of staying well during COVID, when you can't see that family, when you are isolated and disconnected from friends and culture? Does anyone want to take a stab? Monica.
If you have the ability for technology, that's the way to go these days. Zoom is really easy. And my grandson lives here in the city, my only grandchild, and I go crazy if I don't see my grandson and if I don't hear his voice in there's not a day that goes by. So we do Zoom. We do Zoom twice a week, but we talk on the phone every day. And that for me, that keeps my sanity. And I think I know my grandson loves me, but maybe he gets tired of me. I don't know, but it's well for me. It's good for me. So that's something that, you can do.
Yes, thank you. And we have been through ARPA, working a lot with elders on Zoom. I think that is such a key thing to bring everyone together, even though there's Zoom fatigue and we know Zoom can be as much of an issue, but it is a way, honestly, of connecting during these times. And if I heard it again, did I hear Monica saying to the universe that one grandchild is not enough? I'm just throwing it out there. Any other grandmothers who want to talk about Zoom or about Zoom?
Our grandson from Sioux Lookout said that you, Kokum and Mushroom, you're immortal and you have to wait a while. So I guess I'm going to have to be immortal for a while. Because he's hoping to have at least one more child as his own. He adopted his woman's children, but he has one. He said, so at least we'd have 5. We need 6, but 5 he'd be satisfied. So Monica, I'll tell him about you if I can. I'll share that wonderful special moment.
Send one this way.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm proud of SmackDown, and right now Edmee's winning. Sorry, Monica, but it's not a competition. We love each other. Alice, I saw you came off, so you have the final thoughts then about COVID and a grandmother's perspective.
I guess, you know, in our traditional teachings, we're told that we're never alone, no matter where we are. Even if we're in an urban setting in a high rise, we're never alone. And that's one of the teachings that I live by, that our spirit protectors, our ancestors, our grandmothers are always there to protect us. So during this most difficult time, always remember that you're never alone. And physically, you can reach out to your siblings, to support groups, to people that you trust, and connect with them through technology. But always remember that, you know, as an Indigenous person, we're never alone. We're always connected to our people, our grandmothers, our spiritual beings, our ancestors, and that they protect us. And I know it's difficult, but we are going to get through this, and we're going to see each other. And we need to always look forward to the future, but to enjoy the day. Each moment is very precious, especially during this time of the pandemic, and know that we're going to get through this together. Thank you. Yes.
And I think those were, I'm just looking at the time, and I think those were amazing closing comments, Alice. And it's funny, even though Doreen, Elder Healy, had to leave, she just texted me a final thought. Because technology, right, Monica? This is how we are communicating. And so seeing that Doreen kind of started the circle, I figure I will end with a statement from her. And if there's any other there's a few questions we haven't had a chance to get to, I will respond to them and connect them with the grandmothers. So anyone who hasn't had their question answered, I just do want to be respectful of time. I will, in fact, connect you. And I just wanted to say too that we got a message from Lisa saying that thank you for reminding her, Alice, that she's never alone, and that that Darlene echoes the gratitude of being a listener with the grandmothers, with the wise grandmothers. So with that, my phone. Okay. So this is Doreen, who is still with us in spirit, on the note of how you can be here in spirit because of technology. She says, I forgot to mention that I speak of community. Community starts with ourselves, then our family, extended families, then to the external community that you live in. That's why when we pray together, play, sing, and share with each other, it shows where the heart is, and that's the base of our community. And she says, lots of love, and wishes everyone good luck, and thanks you for being here today. And so do I. So I do have a gift for the grandmothers, but wait, it's here, not at your place. It's virtual. I can't get it through Zoom, but what I will do is come by and creepily put it on your doorsteps. So don't send your dogs out, Monica. When you see Janet, wave from the window, because
I thoroughly believed that it would already be there after the Zoom.
Oh, right, you felt like
that's what you had me believe.
I did. I'm sorry. I'm tricky, but not that tricky.
But come right now because the dog went for a walk.
Oh, see, this is what I should have done it. So tomorrow maybe, but yes. So I will be coming by. I will be putting gifts and the tobacco that I offered you on your doorsteps in a safe way, socially distanced way. So I wanted to thank you again for being amazing, for being beautiful, for being wise, and for being the food of my spirit, that I think we all need to be reminded that we have those spirits and we have the connections to each other to help deepen and strengthen those spirits. So thank you so much. Hugs from afar to everybody. Thank you so much. This will be recorded. We can share it online. We will get to those questions we haven't been able to answer. And I want to thank you all again and send my love to all of you. Thank you to the grandmothers from ARPA, Communities Choose Well, and Alberta Blue Cross.